So I want to talk about Kairi and how, in some ways, Melody of Memory actually did things for her better than any of the games in the rest of the series have. Now, of course, there are some things that ticked me off about Melody of Memory, and I plan to get to those in another video where I talk about my feelings about Kairi in this entire series in length. But since I haven't seen anyone talking about this, I thought I'd make a video about it. First of all, for perhaps the first time ever, Kairi is in the center of a lot of these shots, and the camera even moves with her. It's something that would happen for a main character, and since Melody of Memory, at least some ways, was built as Kairi's game, it's a good thing to see. Another thing is how Kairi is actually getting to talk to people for once. She actually has lines, and good lines at that. Like, this is the most we've ever seen her speak. Like, honestly, go back and watch towards the end of Cage 2, guys. There's this notable section after Sora, Kairi, and Riku reunite where Kairi just sort of stops having lines and having an arc, and is just kind of there in the background, not always doing much, and that's kind of been the status quo of Kairi for a long time now. And not only that, Kairi's taking charge in these scenes. Like, she's introducing herself to the Nameless Star. I mean, like, I thought that we could, go ask Master Yinset and Mickey about this, and that kind of thing. In other games, the other characters would have done this for Kairi for sure. And she just would have, let them talk over her.
Regrettably, none of us possess the necessary means to get Aqua back out safely. Hey, Kairi, you gonna say anything at all?
So this is so nice to see. Also, her actually getting to talk to a villain in the series, like Xehanort, who ruined her life. She was the first person in the series, aside from some of the prequels now, whose life he ruined. It's so nice to see her finally get to talk to him. In Cage 2, I wish she had, like when he has that whole "Denizens of light, answer this. Why do you hate the darkness?" spiel. I wish Kairi got to answer that, because she's perhaps, more light than any of the other characters, except for the other princesses of Heart and Vent, and she has a heart of pure light. Until Melody of Memory, she never really got to. And even though I still think some of this is bull, because Kairi having to train when Sora and Riku didn't have to, they just hit the ground running, is annoying. It's nice that her going to train with Aqua was her own decision. I've said many times that Cage 3 also did a lot of good things for Kairi, and a lot of bad too, but also a lot of good that gets overlooked that the series hadn't done before. Such as Kairi choosing to fight in the Keyblade War herself, and people are respecting that because she wanted to get out and do her own part to help, and probably didn't want any of the other princesses to be targeted, so she took her place as a light. I even enjoyed, although that might not be the right word, how Kairi wasn't entirely happy in Melody of Memory. She definitely had a lot of moments of sadness, one such one where the fairy godmother had to cheer her up when Kairi was doubtful. I think a lot of us after Kingdom Hearts 3 were afraid that Kairi wouldn't get to react to any of this trauma, would have a smile on her face all the time, and would maybe even go back to Destiny Islands and wait like a good little girl, and not do anything for Sora, not really get to feel any emotion about any of the stuff that happened to her. So it's great to see Kairi get to emote. And then her fight with Xehanort, while she didn't win, Xehanort here represented her own trauma against him, so it sort of makes sense that she wouldn't have been able to defeat him. And not one single person in this series has been able to defeat the real Master Xehanort by themselves. It's taken at least more than one person. But I love how it shows that Kairi learned. Xehanort grabs her Keyblade, and she dismisses it and calls it back, and then charges at him again. She's not gonna get trapped again. And not even Sora realized to do this when young Xehanort was holding him in Toy Box. It reminds me a lot of when Roxas is winning the fight against Sora in Cage 2, because Sora's dropped his Keyblade, until Sora summons his Keyblade back to him, and then dissects Roxas. I still kind of don't get why Roxas was surprised Sora could summon the Keyblade to him in that scene, but whatever. And while I'm also sort of annoyed that this is something that Kairi had to learn at all, because I feel the other characters wouldn't have so much stacked against them, I am still proud of my girl, and I swear, Nomura, by the end of this, Kairi better be the strongest character in the series. I love seeing angry Kairi, as our girl deserves to be in this DLC. So, yeah, Melody of Memory was not perfect by any means. In some regards, was definitely a letdown for us Kairi fans, and even felt a little bit like Kairi baiting. But there was definitely some good there that I do think gets overlooked, as I said before, and I just thought I'd make a video about that as I prepare to maybe dissect my favorite character in general in upcoming videos here. So let's start with some of the good that the series has done for her before we get into the bad, because believe me, there's a lot of that. Justice for Kairi 2021, everyone.